Ian emerging over the Atlantic.
Worst case scenario for us here in Osceola County.
After a flood of trouble in central Florida. Cameras rolling as a woman in southwest Florida sees her home for the first time since the storm. And the Dolphins quarterback gets carried out on a stretcher.
And they'll take him back
as they try to stay undefeated. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Elena Key.
I'm Amanda Gray. Today's Friday, September 30th, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Ian is a hurricane again, expected to make landfall in the Charleston, South Carolina area. The system didn't leave Florida before first leaving a path of destruction across Florida.
The network's Samuel Garcia has a look back.
West and southwest Florida are finally clear of Hurricane Ian. Crews and residents alike are working on rescue and recovery before beginning reparations.
It's been historical. It's been a worst case scenario for us here in Osceola County. We're projecting, so the last several days, 10 to 15 inches of rain. We're closely approaching that 14-inch mark today. But we've had areas of Kissimmee, parts of our unincorporated area flood that we've never seen before.
I'm here reporting from North Perry Airport, where the tailwinds of Hurricane Ian caused massive tornadoes, which made 17 planes flip over and caused damage to numerous buildings. Even though we were not directly hit by the storm, we still suffered a lot of damages that have piled up into thousands in cost. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said in a press conference yesterday that the floods caused by Hurricane Ian are a 1 in 500-year event.
The amount of water that's been rising and will likely continue to rise today, even as the storm is passing, is basically a 500-year flood event.
Now, as you can see behind me, there's several planes that survived the aftermath. Their owners went and strapped them down, put a couple weights on them to make sure that none of the winds would affect them. We spoke to some of them earlier, and they said they're just happy that they're going to be able to go out and fly another day without suffering any damages. This has been Samuel Rodriguez reporting for the South Florida Media Network.
Video rolling for an emotional moment as a woman returns to her Cape Coral home for the first time since Hurricane Ian. A CNN crew accompanied the home owner yesterday as she made her way through flooded streets to visit her home. When she surveyed the damage, she knew it was too much to fix.
Well, I'd say it's done. What do you think? Like I said, there's people worse off than us.
The catastrophic effects of Hurricane Ian on the west coast of Florida has resulted in homes destroyed and neighborhoods flooded.
A Coast Guard crew stationed in Miami traveled to southwest Florida to rescue pets and Hurricane Ian victims due to several flooding in Sanibel. Video rolling as the crew saves a dog and 2 people. Victims were airlifted to safety on the mainland. The Coast Guard has made several rescues as they continue to search the islands.
The damage in the Orlando area was mostly from rain. The network's Jeronimo Mura traveled to Central Florida to get the story.
Ian went into Florida on Wednesday afternoon, destroying everything in his path. By Thursday morning, this hurricane got to Orlando with strong winds and heavy rain that forced residents to protect themselves into safe places and wait till it was gone.
We just moved here like a year ago, yeah, so this is our first storm or whatever over here, yeah.
So this was your first hurricane?
Yeah, it was here in the States.
And how did you stay safe?
We just kind of stayed inside, didn't go outside, made sure that, all the stuff was away from the windows, and, we did the whole power generator thing, got some gas, and then just made sure we hunkered down and kind of got in like a close room in the back, and we were good.
Mostly just staying inside. I had to put down a lot of towels by the windows and doors to keep all the water from coming in. Just preparing, staying safe.
Were you afraid at any time?
Maybe some parts of the night it got a little rough. There's some trees outside my house, but other than that, kind of used to it, living here for 10, 15 years now. So.
Were you afraid at any time?
No, I've lived here for 50 years, so it doesn't bother me.
So it's normal for you?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Thousands of houses destroyed, cities completely flooded, and more than 2.5 million people without electricity. From Orlando, Jeronimo Mura for the South Florida Media Network.
The happiest place on earth is opening its door to the public as Tropical Storm Ian leaves Orlando. Starting today, Walt Disney World is reopening in phases as Ian makes its way out of Central Florida. The company did not release a specific time for operations to resume. Other attractions in the area like SeaWorld Orlando and Universal Orlando also closed their theme parks prior to Ian and plan to reopen in incoming days.
The Marlins aiming to brew up a win in Milwaukee.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Him to the ground. I mean, you're thinking about the back, the ankle, but he gets thrown to the ground.
A second scare on the football field put the Dolphins family in danger of losing more than just the game. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Quarterback concern as the Dolphins starter leaves the stadium on a stretcher after a hard hit. Tua was well enough to fly back to South Florida with the team, but now the Players Association is investigating a potential head injury in the team's last game and question if Tua should have even played last night.
Meanwhile, as the network's Amanda Milian reports, backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater tried to lead Miami past a really good Cincinnati Bengals team on the road.
After an intense battle against the Bills this past Sunday, the Dolphins traveled to Cincinnati with an undefeated record, sitting at the top of their conference to face the Bengals for some Thursday night football. Leading up to the game, starting quarterback for the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, was questionable due to back and ankle injuries he acquired from a rough hit by Bills linebacker Matt Milano. Tagovailoa still started last night. Joe Mixon scored the first touchdown for the Bengals. 2 field goals later by the Dolphins, and the game was at 7-6. During the second quarter, Tagovailoa was sacked by defensive tackle Josh Tupou. This hit left Tagovailoa with head and neck injuries. He was taken off the field in a stretcher and rushed to a local hospital. The Dolphins confirmed before the half he was conscious and had movement in all his extremities. Once he took the place of Tagovailoa, Teddy Bridgewater shoveled a pass to Chase Edmonds for a touchdown, closing out the half at 14-12. Heading into the third quarter, the battle continued between the teams. With a 64-yard pass from Bridgewater to Tyreek Hill, this set the Dolphins up to score another field goal, taking the lead 15-14. At the start of the fourth quarter, the Bengals scored a field goal to reclaim the lead 17-15. During a Dolphins possession, Bridgewater threw an interception right before the 2-minute warning. Driving down the field, the Bengals ended up at the 1-yard line, allowing Hayden Hurst to score the Bengals another touchdown. Ultimately, the Bengals ended the undefeated run for the Dolphins, the final score of the game being 27-15. As for Tagovailoa, he was discharged from the hospital and is expected to return back home to Miami with the team. A rough night for the Dolphins as they now fall to 3-1 on the season, but all the focus still remains on the health of Tua Tagovailoa. This is Amanda Milian, South Florida Media Network.
Although the Dolphins lost, at least one of our Miami teams were able to win a game last night when the Marlins played the Brewers in Milwaukee. The Brewers took an early 2-run lead in the second inning, but the Marlins were able to come back late in the game with 4 runs in the 8th inning. The final score was Marlins 4, Brewers 2. The Marlins play the Brewers in their second game of the series tonight at 8:10 p.m.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Amanda Gray.
I'm Elena Key. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.